Hey, what's up guys? Bajheera here. Got another gym video for you guys. This is going to be a basic arms and shoulders exercises video. So this is not necessarily my entire arms and shoulders workout, but I provided some sort of beginner tips in my last video and you guys really seem to enjoy that. So we're going to go back to that model for this video. What I'm doing right here is just a basic overhead dumbbell shoulder press. And you can do this a little bit out to the front, or sometimes if you want to squeeze with a different part of your shoulder and maybe even bring your traps in the movement, you can put your elbows a little bit further back and almost push the dumbbells sort of behind your head, and that'll activate different parts of your shoulder and a little bit of your trap muscles at the very, very top of the movement if you squeeze your shoulders together just a little bit. So here I'm doing some alternating bicep curls, and I'm bringing my wrist so it's supinated, which means that I'm turning my wrist, my palm towards me. And as I'm bringing my palm all the way up, I'm using that to squeeze my bicep all the way to the top, and keeping that resistance on my biceps muscles the whole time. So even at the bottom, I'm still sort of flexing my bicep, but allowing the muscle to contract once it reaches the top of the movement. So for these, I'm doing some lateral raises, and once again, these lateral raises can be performed lots of different ways. And with all these exercises, one of the best things for you to do is start with light weight and do the movements such that you can feel the muscle that you're targeting contracting. So for these, I usually do these with pretty light weights, but what I'm doing is I do them sometimes out to the front a little bit more, sometimes out to the side a little bit, but I usually keep my elbows bent just a little bit, and I often have times you're gripping the weights really, really tightly anyway, but sometimes bring my pinkies out a little bit, and that allows me to feel the movement in my shoulders. So here we go, we're going to be doing some more of those overhead presses, and as I get heavier with the weights, a lot of times I'll start to shift the way that I'm doing these exercises a little bit more to the front of my shoulders, engaging my front deltoid muscles rather than the rear delts, which the rear delts don't really get involved in the pressing, but more like the middle of your shoulders and the traps, like I was mentioning before. So one of the ways I like to do these exercises are supersets like that. So I'll do the overhead presses, the dumbbell presses, and then I'll just go right into alternating curls. And you don't have to do alternating curls if you don't want to. You can do, curling with both your arms at the same time if you want to. But the way I usually do this is I will get a bar later on, and I'll do just curls with the bar later. So sometimes I'll do the alternating ones just to sort of get the feel for that. But if you want to do the, if I do curls with the dumbbells, I usually do them like hammer style, which means instead of having your wrists or palms turned towards your shoulder, they'll be turned towards each other. So sort of like a neutral grip. And that works a little bit different part of your bicep. I feel like that makes your bicep a little bit longer rather than where you're using the supinated grip to enhance your bicep peak. Just a little bit different. But with all these exercises, like I mentioned before, this exercise in particular is a good time to mention this. You got to perform the movement so that you can actually feel it in your muscles, working it the way you want it to. As you get heavier, sometimes you just blast the weight, and that's understandable. But when you're just getting started, it really is important to understand what the exercise is trying to do for you. Using the resistance to contract your muscle against it rather than just trying to move heavy weight, because you're going to get a lot more out of moving weight correctly and engaging the muscles that you want to work, rather than just pushing weight around, at least when you're getting started. So when I was talking about hammer curls, this is what I was talking about. You can sort of see, instead of my bicep peaking as much at the top, it's sort of allowing the muscle to be a little bit more elongated, a little bit more fuller when it is in that sort of elongated position. And I also talked earlier about using a bar, and I'm using the little easy bar for this because I like to do curls with it better. It feels better on my elbow when I do curls with a little bit of supination in the movement, rather than like a full flat bar where your wrists are all the way facing you. I don't really like the way that feels with a normal bar. Kind of messes with my elbow a little bit. But I do like doing the curls like with a little easy bar here, and we're gonna show you some right now. But these couple exercises, an overhead pressing movement, a curling movement, and then a sort of lateral raises movement are ones that I really, really like. One of the things that you would want to add in here, and one of the things that I do add in here, are something for your triceps. If you just wanted to use those exercises, your triceps are getting involved in the pushing it movements, but you might want to do a tricep push down or like a skull crusher kind of thing. I don't do a lot of skull crushers, and I feel like maybe I need to do more overhead tricep work, just because I feel like that would fill out the top, so this sort of part of my tricep closer to my shoulder. Whether that's the short head or the long head, who knows. That's just what I need to work. But also, I do like doing some of these sort of upright rows. You gotta be careful with upright rows though. Another exercise to definitely start light with, have a wider grip, and get the feel for it before you start packing on the weight. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed these couple exercises. These are some of the ones that I like to use for my arms and shoulders. Let me know if there are any muscle groups in particular that you'd like me to address, because I'd be more than happy to make that sort of video for you. Either way, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace!